Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time you're watching this, greetings and welcome. I've been doing interviews for a long time, about 5+ years, and I just wanted to give some tips that can really help everyone. I hate turning down an applicant because they don't know how to do an interview or how to have the proper etiquette. So here are my 10 tips to have a successful interview in 2020. Tip number 1. These first few tips are gonna be really important because it's basically what you're doing even before you get in the door. So number 1, very important. Many people don't do this, which is surprising. Research the company that you're trying to get the job for. Now you might be saying, oh, but what do I research for? What you need to look up, very critical information. Not every single thing you're gonna remember, and I'm not asking you to remember the whole business timeline. So here are about 3 things that you really need to know when it comes to that question of, hey, what do you know about this company? So number 1, know who the CEO is, just to put that name out there. Know a mission statement or a value or a principle that you just want to show and tell them, so that way they know you really know about the deep core of the company. Another piece of information that you kind of should know, you know when you go on Google and you look up the company and it gives you those like 2 or 3 sentences about who they are and what they sell, that's it right there. That's really good enough information to know so you can tell them when they ask you, what do you know about this company? Number 2, now this one, very important. When you're looking up jobs and you're seeing all those job qualifications and descriptions, jot down some of those key words that they're looking for. So if they're mentioning, let's say they're looking for someone who's passionate about water, mention that in your interview. One thing about me is that I'm passionate about water. Mention that. Take those keywords that you read in the job description, what kind of person they're looking for, and also just say it. It's kind of a cheat code. Jot down the word. You don't have to say it verbatim, but it's really important so that way they know you're actually looking for this job and it correlates to what they're looking for. You want to be that person they're looking for. Number 3. Number 3 is all about practice. That's right, practice. Really, you want to practice your introduction, very important. Also, your answers to certain questions. So as you're doing your research about the company, you really want to see their previous interviews that they had. Some questions are very generic that almost every interviewer asks you. So you really want to practice. You can practice in front of a camera. If you don't have one, that's fine. You can do it in a mirror. You can even do a voice note just to hear how you sound. And also write it down. You really want to make sure you practice that. An introduction is very important. This is really where we get a chance to meet you, and it's our first interaction we have with you. What do you say in an introduction? It might seem overwhelming to introduce yourself because that is a big question. So here are some pointers about what to say on an introduction. For your intro, you really want to make sure you keep it short and sweet, not too short, of course. So number 1, you start with your name. Hello, my name is blank blank. I worked for, or at my last position, you want to mention that as well. So you want to mention, when I used to work for blank blank, I was in charge of 3 main responsibilities. I just like 3, keep it simple enough where it's kind of broad and kind of falls under the umbrella of what they're looking for, but also something that's unique and different. And also, like I said, mention about yourself a little bit, the description words that you jotted down earlier to mention in your interview, so that way they know that what they're looking for is you. And then at the end, you want to mention some of your hobbies or some of your interests, just to leave them on a personal note so maybe they can actually connect with you. So here's an example of how an introduction can sound like. Okay, I'm gonna read it because I wrote it down. Hello, my name is blank blank. At my last position, I had 3 main responsibilities. I was in charge of blank, blank, and blank. And some of my hobbies include blank, blank, and blank. That's it. That is it. Of course, don't say blank, blank, put in the actual words, and that's it. Number 4. So here is very important. You want to get dressed, okay? You jotted everything down, you researched the company, you're ready to go, but you gotta get dressed. Now, people sometimes may not know what the getting dressed part means. It's not about just looking good, but also have to take into consideration the psyche of the company. So visit that store, visit that company. See the color scheme that they choose. Try to match that outfit with you. Psychologically, they're gonna put you with the company already because you are wearing the company colors. Another piece of information I want to share about dress code is you have cologne, you have perfume, you have deodorant, it smells really good. Don't overdo it because that's also bad. You don't want to come in the room and then the whole room smells like that. It's overbearing. So please be mindful of that. You want to dress for the position. A good rule to know is dress for more, never dress for less. Number 5. So here it's all about eye contact. Okay, now you're getting in that room, you're meeting people, you're seeing everyone. It's all about that eye contact, especially in 2020 where you have a mask on. That eye contact is super important. Also, if you're dealing with multiple people at the interview, at a panel, you have to make sure you give everyone that eye contact. So if person 1 is asking you a question, and let's say you have 4 people left, one person asks you the question, you look at them in the eye, you make sure they finish the question, lock eyes. And then as you start answering, you want to make sure you look at every single person. Okay, as I'm doing now, even though I'm showing you the example, I'm still coming back to my main person. So you always want to keep your head in that swivel position. It also keeps your words in the limit and it makes your pacing at a good rate. So what I mean by pacing is you don't want to go too fast, go too slow. So when you're doing this, and this, your eye contact is going to make you pace your words and your head is going to make you stay on a good pace. Number 6, finally made it in that chair. But wait, gotta make sure your posture is good. Back straight, super important. Please don't be comfortable. What I mean by that is don't lean back on the couch like you're chilling, watching TV. Don't do that. You wanna sit at the edge to the chair, not too close, but not too far back where you have that dip in the chair. Most chairs, you have to find that good balance. You wanna keep your feet flat on the floor just to keep yourself centered, keep yourself grounded. Arms, please. I've had interviews where people come in and they're like folding their arms, which is very weird. I didn't think that was a thing that people do, but they do it. And it's okay. Sometimes we don't know, right? Don't fold your arms. Also, please make sure your hands, if you're sitting at a table, you can keep them folded. You could do a power V. You want to make sure your posture is straight, exuding confidence. That's really important. Please don't lean. I'm bored, I don't want to be here. Don't lean back, you're not Fat Joe. Number 7. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but pacing. Super important to pace yourself. Pace your words. Please don't go too fast. 1, because we're actually jotting down notes. So if you're going too fast, I'm not gonna catch everything. And the thing that maybe is the most important, I probably will not remember because I didn't get a chance to write it down because you were going too fast. Also, don't go too slow because we have a lot of candidates we have to get through and we also need you to answer the questions. So you have to make sure you have a good pace. So how do you do this? Because I can tell you this all the time, right? But how do you accomplish it? You want to make sure you practice. As I'm speaking to you, I'm pacing myself. Sometimes I think to myself, oh, am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? You have to make sure the viewer can also follow your words. So pace yourself every day. Think about it. Am I going too fast? You're not talking to your friend. You have to realize when you're talking to someone new, they don't know how you speak yet. Point number 8. Take notes. Bring a small notepad, a nice looking one, a new one. Bring a pen, bring multiple pens because you never know when one can run out of ink or you never know. Now, for taking notes, you want to take notes the questions they're asking, but also about themselves. So whenever they say something about the company or say something about themselves, just jot down keywords. Don't try to jot down everything they're saying. And then that keyword should trigger your memory to come back to it. Also, if they're asking a lot of questions or multiple layered questions in one question, which I don't like to do, but it happens, jot down the keywords so that way you can tackle all those questions. Number 9, this is about energy. So you see we're all the way at 9. My energy hasn't died. I've stayed the same. My voice control is still the same. My eye contact is still the same. My body language is still the same. That energy you need to have all throughout the interview. If it's a 30-minute interview, if it's an hour, gotta have that energy. Also, with your voice, you have to make sure you keep that level up. You don't want to be too high, but you definitely don't want to be too low. If you see that gradual decline and you feel it in yourself, you gotta bring yourself up. That's why that posture is very important. That's why taking notes is very important. Please make sure that energy is super important. Also, with your eyes, gotta make sure you smile with your eyes. What do I mean by that? Every interview now, you're probably going to be wearing a mask, right? Maybe for the foreseeable future, I don't know. So you have to think about it like this. Am I smiling? No. Am I smiling now? Yes. You see the eyes go up, that's smiling with your eyes. So even though you're not smiling for real, you gotta still showcase that smile in your eyes. And that comes back to energy. Point number 10. This one is the last one because at this point, your interview should be over. Now it's time to hear that magical question. Do you have any questions for us? I would say always have questions for them. One, because it shows you're interested and you wanna learn more about whatever you're gonna ask. Two, it also shows that you're actually taking the time out to get to know more about whatever you're trying to ask about. But now the question is, what do I ask? I don't know what to ask. We sat here for a whole hour. They said everything, I said everything. I got you. Me, first, I like to ask 3 questions at the end. So I'll show you what I do and you can kind of formulate it to get your own ideas. The first question I usually ask is something related to a mission statement or a value or a principle that, of course, I research. For example, if the mission statement says we are looking to train for the future, a question will be, so I see at blank blank, according to the mission statement, you're looking to train for the future. So how does this company go about training for the future? The reason you want to ask this kind of question is because it shows that you know about the company and you also are asking a question. You could easily say, oh, how's the training for the company? It's not as great. You want to show that, oh wow, they actually read the mission statement, they actually want to learn about training. Number 2, for asking a question. So ideally, you want to ask about something that's happening, current event wise. The more recent, the better, just because it shows that you're on top of the company and you're actually researching. So when I say this, a good question would be something like this. So I recently saw that blank blank was voted one of the best places to work for. From your personal experience here, what is the driving force for this? You're relaying to them that you know about the company, it's a current event, it's an award, and you're also asking them to get personal. The last question that I usually try to leave off kind of comes in the interview, so anything that you actually do want to ask, you should ask. I like to leave the last question for kind of a fun point or kind of a positive note. So usually for me, I ask something that came up in the interview that I actually do want to ask. For example, if someone has worked there for a long period of time, like 5 years or more, you want to ask what keeps you here, just to really know why they stayed with this company, because it also gives you insight to why they're here. Overall, the biggest message I want you to take away from this is confidence. That is the key. I know we hear it all the time, but I laid out, how to actually get that. And it really comes from preparing, practicing, performing. That's it. You do those 3 things and you're good to go. Because they can't stump you on any question, because guess what? You prepared for the information. You won't get flustered because you practiced it. And then performing, well, you gotta get in that room and you gotta shine. If you play a sport, you practice all the time. It's great to practice because then when you get on to actual game time, you gotta perform. So an interview is really selling yourself, as you know. So how do you want to sell yourself? Ultimately, you want to ask, do I want to hire me? So hopefully you guys take these tips. Tell me, any experience you had. Tell me a random question you had in an interview. Tell me anything else you want to add to this. Of course, there's many other tips, but these are just 10 kind of simple tips. 10 also pointers for newer people getting into the workforce, because I feel like sometimes we don't know what we actually need to know to get into an interview. And then when we're in an interview, we're always thinking, oh, why didn't I get it? I thought I did great. Oh, well, actually, didn't go that well because you didn't hit these 10 points. So try it out. Let me know how you do. Go get that job. Thank you.